So, you're thinking about making the jump from senior manager to director of engineering? Let me tell you, it is not just another rung on the ladder. It's a fundamental shift in how you think, how you operate, and ultimately, how you create value. Let's dive right into the playbook for making this massive transition. First things first, we've got to ask, what does a director of engineering really do? It's easy to think it's just about managing more teams or shipping bigger projects, but that's not it at all. The real change isn't about the tasks you do, it's about a complete change in your perspective and the entire environment you're responsible for creating. And this quote right here, this is the core idea you have to internalize. As a manager, you are probably part of the engine, maybe even a key part, driving your team's output directly. But as a director, your job is to be the lever. Your success is no longer measured by your personal output, not at all. It's measured by your ability to multiply the output of the entire organization. You're the one building the system that helps all the other engines run faster, better, and more efficiently. Okay, so the first major mindset shift you have to make is learning to think in bets and budgets. This is a big one. It means you've got to move away from arguing about the best or most elegant technical solution. Instead, you start framing every single decision as a strategic business investment with very clear trade-offs. Here's a classic situation I'm sure you've been here. Product comes to you needing a flashy new feature, feature X, to hit the quarterly sales targets. It's urgent, but at the same time, your team knows the platform is groaning under the weight of tech debt, and a critical modernization project is needed just to keep the lights on and build anything 6 months from now. So, what do? Well, you don't start with opinions. You start with cold, hard data. You model your team's actual capacity. Let's just use story points for a sec. Say your team can get 100 points of work done in a quarter. That's your capacity. But the work being asked for, the new feature plus that critical modernization adds up to 110 points. So right there, you have a 10% capacity deficit. And this is so important. This isn't a complaint. It's not a feeling. It is a mathematical fact. And with that data in hand, you completely change the conversation. You're no longer the blocker, the person saying no. You're now a strategic partner. You present a clear framework of choices. Okay, team, here's option A. We can de-scope the new feature to an MVP. Option B, we can delay the modernization, but here's the quantified business risk of doing that. We're looking at more customer incidents and a serious delay to all future work. Or, hey, there's option C. We can do both, but that becomes a budget discussion about bringing in contractors. See? You're not saying no. You're asking which strategic trade-off is the right one for the business right now. The second huge shift is moving away from just managing people day to day to actually designing the system they all work in. Your focus totally shifts to creating resilient structures, clear processes, and a culture where really talented people can do their best work and thrive. Ah, the classic challenge, the hero engineer. You know this person. They are brilliant. They can solve the hardest problems, but they don't document anything, they don't collaborate, and honestly, their abrasive behavior is driving away other good people. This isn't just a people problem, this is a massive, blinking red light of organizational risk. So how do you fix it? You have to address it systematically. First, you model the behavior you want to see. Maybe you personally document a recent critical incident, showing everyone that this is required work, not some optional chore. Second, you have a very direct coaching conversation, and you explicitly link collaboration and mentorship to their performance review. It's now a non-negotiable part of their job. And finally, and this is the real power move, you restructure their role. You make them a consultant, not a doer. This forces them to transfer their knowledge and empowers everyone else to step up. You're not managing a person, you're de-risking the entire system. Okay, here's another one you'll definitely run into. A new manager, probably promoted for their awesome technical skills, is now driving their team absolutely crazy with micromanagement. They're in every single pull request, they're becoming a bottleneck. Your job here isn't to fix the team's code, it's to fix the manager's entire operating system. You coach them through it in phases. First, you use data, things like team velocity, morale surveys, to show them the actual tangible cost of their behavior. You reframe their job using that lever metaphor we talked about. Second, you give them practical tools, like a delegation framework, and you actively shift their focus away from reviewing every line of code to monitoring high-level outcomes and metrics. And third, you assign them tasks that are all about growing their people, like creating a succession plan. This forces them to see their team not just as resources to manage, but as future leaders to develop. Now, this final mindset shift is absolutely crucial. As a director, you have to look beyond this quarter's backlog. It's now your responsibility to place strategic bets on technologies that are going to create a real competitive advantage for the company 3, maybe even 5 years down the road. Let's use our really powerful emerging technology as an example, Agentic AI, specifically using a technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short. Now that sounds complicated, but in simple terms, all it really does is allow an AI to search all of your company's internal stuff, documents, wikis, Slack histories, to find accurate, context-specific answers. So you don't just go to your boss and say, hey, AI is cool. No, you propose a specific, measurable experiment, a proof of concept for what you might call an engineering knowledge agent. And the problem it solves is real and painful. Your engineers are wasting hours and hours every week just searching for information across a dozen different disconnected systems. This agent could centralize all of that knowledge. And this is the most critical step. You tie your technical initiative directly to business value. You propose measuring its success by, say, a 10% reduction in how long it takes to resolve incidents, which saves real money, or by cutting down knowledge search time, which effectively boosts your entire engineering capacity without adding a single new person. You're not asking for a science project here. You're proposing a smart investment with a clear, measurable return. All right, let's pull all of this together. What does this playbook for becoming a truly strategic leader actually look like? It really boils down to a few core transformations in how you think and how you act every single day. These are the 4 key shifts you have to make. You move from being the engine to being the lever. You stop arguing for technical purity and you start framing decisions as capital allocation. You graduate from managing people to designing the system. And you lift your head up from today's backlog to place those strategic bets on the future. And that brings us to a final thought for you to take away. As you get ready to step into this role or maybe grow within it, it is really worth asking yourself, which one of these transformations feels the most natural to you? And which one is going to require the most conscious, deliberate effort to master? Your answer to that question, well, that's the real starting point for building your own director playbook.